This is a video chart presentation of New Millennium Iron Corp. New Millennium trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange, our ticker NML. Doing a little bottom fishing here. Stock has been on a pretty healthy slide for the last year. Had a real nice support set up here around 40 cents. Fell through it here in June. Set up another support around 35, 34 cents. Fell through it again. And now recently established the latest support at 28 cents. But with the stock taking on a little bit of buying pressure on Monday, closing at 30.5 cents, up 5%. Still relatively low volume, 206,000 shares traded. But that's actually not a bad day for this stock. It's just enough to pay attention to it and see if it's going to take on some more upward pressure and possibly challenge this resistance and 50-day moving average right around 35 cents. Now we've just got a bullish cross, the MACD passing through the signal line. That's an optimistic sign for a short-term trend shift. But it can also be viewed, this MACD is still trending downward over the last couple months. So I wouldn't read too much into that until this trend line's broken and the MACD starts to move more towards zero. But on the same token, we can look at the longer term trend and note the MACD is actually moving slightly higher. So a little bit of mixed signals depending on how if you want to look at it in the short term or in the longer term. As far as trying to find a bottom, we tend to look more towards the long term and take hints from these short term bullish crosses. So very early on, but still a nice little position for the chart, especially given the fact that it's close to a bottom support. Now with the support being held and the stock climbing ever so slightly, we're getting some upward movement in the slow stow, indicating a little bit of momentum building, but still below that 50 mark. That signals a much stronger momentum. So we'll look for that 50 mark to be broken, and importantly, try and hold above that level. The money flow index can be read the same way, starting to rise a little bit, make some higher lows. 14 right now at 37. Again, also moving towards that key 50 mark. Early on, but slightly positive signs. And that goes the same for the relative strength index. Moving upward, showing some momentum is building, while at the same time, it's worth noting it's been months since the RSI has been on the upper half of that indicator. So pretty important for it to move through it and hold above it to show it some true momentum is being sustained in the play. And of course, it always just comes down to the candles. And this is a pretty simple read that we want to see that 28 cent support level hold. There's nothing really below that. For us, it would be a stop out point. It's just hard to tell where the chart's going to go without some more support in place. Now to the upside, I'd certainly note some resistance picking up around 33.5, 34 cents, but it looks like this 35, and probably more accurately the 36 cent mark, is going to be a real difficult resistance level. Not still about a 20% upside from where it closed on Monday, which is what we always look for, a larger upside compared to the downside to support, but probably more importantly, if it can break through that level, and then even if it pulls back, holds a higher low, it'd be the first time in quite some time that this chart's showing any real signs of making an uptrend and a pattern of higher lows. Beyond this 36 cent mark, as I mentioned, I'd look for 40 cents to be a real tough spot for resistance, given that for several months that was a strong level of support. Classic TA says once that's broken, that support becomes resistance, and that's exactly what we'd look for if the stock did take on some significant upward pressure. For the time being, we're just going to look for a little bit more strength, see if it can push to this purple line. 20-day moving average represents the middle of the Bollinger Bands. Stocks are much more bullish when they're trading above the 20-day, and then see how stock reacts as it approaches this 50-day. Some caution certainly needs to be exercised because the stock has been in a pretty strong downtrend and has a history of setting up a good support and then falling through it. But with the current position, as long as that support stays intact, we feel it's a chart worth keeping an eye on to see how it performs. But as always, it's merely my interpretation of the New Millennium Iron Corp chart. I'm not a financial consultant. Strongly encourage you to do your own proper due diligence. Consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Please visit the allpennystocks.com website to view the full disclaimer disclosure, and do not base any investment decisions upon any material found on the website and/or its video chart. No person employed by All Penny Stocks is a registered investment advisor or licensed broker-dealer. Thank you for watching. Trade smart.